Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today. As usual, man, you guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, I want to talk about some comments that Tom Brady made. And I know I'm late to the party on this. I know I'm often late to the party on some of this stuff. I told you I'm not up on social media that way. You know, I should probably pay more attention to social media. It probably help my content here. But I don't really, like I said, I'm not on it like that, man. And a lot of times I get my stuff from, you know, things that I just see, clips here, things that you guys send me. And I heard in this clip of Tom Brady, I was listening to my man Too Raw this morning. So shout out to Too Raw. And, you know, like I said, I know I'm late because I know a bunch of people have covered this topic with Tom Brady and him, you know, mentioning the quote-unquote GOATs, you know, of different sports, and him giving his, you know, Mount Rushmore of GOATs. And this man went on, he listed like 20 people. And he didn't mention LeBron James, man. So we're going to talk about in this video, man, for real. I want to talk about these comments that Tom Brady made in relation to the GOATs, you know, in various sports that he named, and how he did not mention LeBron James. And it's because he doesn't respect LeBron James that way. And you guys know this, man. We've been talking about this. LeBron James is not worthy. He's not respected that way. These are just the facts, man. All right, and we're going to talk about in this video, man. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, you guys know I am truly, truly humbled, man, by all support that you guys show my channel, man. It really means a lot, guys. I want to send a special thanks out to Joshua Gonzalez, who comes through all the time, man. Emails. Like I said, one of the people that send me information a lot, supports my channel. So shout out to Joshua Gonzalez. Shout out to Chase Dillard, who sends me emails. Like I said, you guys are true supporters, man. You guys really, like I said, help out my channel. So shout out to Chase Dillard. I want to send a special thanks out to Chip Ferguson, man. Another true supporter of my channel. Shout out to my man Chip Ferguson. Always comes through the live streams. Always commenting. Always got good stuff to say. And shout out to Short and Sweet. Once again, for emailing, coming through, just supporting the channel. Thank you to all you guys that support the channel. It means a lot, for real. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So yes, guys, like I said, man, I wanted to touch briefly on the Tom Brady comments. Excuse me for a second, guys. Now, I know that I'm late. This is maybe like from, I don't know, maybe 3-4 days ago that I saw people reporting on this, you know, video of Tom Brady. Like I said, I don't know if he was in an interview, you know, it looked like it was like a Zoom call or something like that, a FaceTime, whatever it is. He's, you know, having this interview, you know, like I said, maybe a Q&A, question and answering or whatever it is. And, you know, they're asking Tom Brady about, does he have a Mount Rushmore of GOATs? And, I mean, it's just laughable to me, the amount of names that Tom Brady dropped. Now, I don't believe that Tom Brady thinks that all of these people that he named are quote-unquote GOATs, but he named them nonetheless. And the funny thing about it was, like, when I first heard about these comments of Tom Brady, I thought that he named 4 of the greatest athletes to ever play in any sport. I thought that that's what it was, that he named, like I said, a Mount Rushmore. Whenever you hear Mount Rushmore, you think 4 names, right? That's what you would think. I'm going to name 4 people, right? The Mount Rushmore, we all know, is a monument, right? 4 presidential faces, right? So whenever you hear, oh, who's your Mount Rushmore, who's on your Mount Rushmore, you automatically assume someone's going to give you 4 names, right? 4 people for a Mount Rushmore, whatever it is. So we've talked about, as far as NBA history, you know, the Mount Rushmore of NBA's history. You know, who do you have on there? You know, and you could have different players on there for whatever the reasons are. And I've told you, to me, the Mount Rushmore is not the same as the 4 greatest players of all time. To me, that's not what the Mount Rushmore means or implies. It's about what you've done for the game, the impact, your icon, right? To me, that stuff is more important when you're talking about a Mount Rushmore, what you did to push the game forward. That's more important to me in a Mount Rushmore discussion, as opposed to a, you know, who's the greatest of all time, you know, 1 through 10 or 1 through 4. So when I'm listening to Tom Brady answer the question, like I said, he asked this question. When I'm listening to Tom Brady answer this, like I said, I'm listening to Too Raw's video this morning. This dude, Tom Brady, man, he went off. He went off. He named all kinds of people. Now, you know, like I said, growing up, guys, for me, what I remember growing up, and I told you guys, I was heavily into baseball, basketball, and football. didn't know hockey that much. Like I said, wasn't into golf or didn't really know tennis that well. I watched some of I used to like watching Wimbledon, but I wasn't really a tennis player, a soccer player, a hockey player. I didn't know these sports that well. NASCAR, the racing and stuff. I didn't know any of this stuff, really. I knew the names. You knew the quote-unquote GOATs of these sports. I knew those guys. I knew who Wayne Gretzky was. I damn sure knew who Wayne Gretzky was, right? And I knew who someone like Pele was. I heard of Pele. You know what's funny about that, guys? I tell you guys all the time, my son is 7 years old, man, and he's getting into soccer heavy right now. So right now, we're concentrating on soccer and basketball. Right now, he wants to try to play tackle football. My wife's not into it, but whatever. He wants to do the tackle football because the kid was killing it in flag last year. But anyway, he's into the soccer right now. This kid talks about Pele. Dude, Pele was before me. I never saw Pele play. This dude talks about Pele, my son, who's 7 years old. Because why? Because he knows who Pele is. Because Pele's respected across soccer. He's respected that way. So once again, he's lifted up, right? And basically, like I said, promoted to this day still. Because he's a legend of the game. And he's respected. They don't tear down Pele. Oh, Pele's crap, man. Messi's better. He can't. This is what you hear now. In basketball, they tear down the basketball greats to lift up these guys today. Instead of congratulating and, instead of bigging up the guys in the past, which would help these guys of today. That's not the case. But anyway, my son knows who Pele is. He knows who Maradona is. He knows who these guys are, man. Once again, these sports are promoted. These players are promoted a lot differently, man. But shout out to Pele, and the greatness of Pele. But anyway, I knew who he was. Like I said, I remember hearing about Maradona. I remember hearing about these guys. Never played a soccer game, an official soccer game a day in my life, guys. All right? But I knew who these guys were. I remember with golf. I remember hearing Jack Nicklaus, right? I remember hearing these names, Arnold Palmer. I remember hearing it. Never knew who these guys really were. Couldn't pick them out of a lineup. But I remember hearing the names because the names rang bells. These guys were respected. They were greats. Right? So they were honored that way. They were worthy to be respected and held up on that pedestal. Right? That's the same as Michael Jordan. Everyone knew who Michael Jordan was. Even if you weren't a quote-unquote basketball fan, you knew who Michael Jordan was. Right? Just like I said, I remember when I was growing up in the 80s, man, young, you knew about Joe Montana. Everybody talked about Joe Montana. The way they spoke about Joe Montana, man, it was like, oh my God. The same way they talked about Walter Payton when I was growing up in the 80s, man. Walter Payton was like, man, Walter Payton. It's Walter Payton, man. And not only was Walter Payton a great player, he was a great human being, man. A great person. That's why Walter Payton is viewed and talked about and regarded that way still. But I knew about Jim Brown. Never saw Jim Brown play a day in my life, but I knew about Jim Brown. You knew about these guys, right? You knew about the great players. I remember tennis. I remember watching guys like Andre Agassi when I was growing up, Pete Sampras, Bjorn Borg, what was the other guy's name? I can't remember the other guy's name, man. McEnroe, John McEnroe. I knew about these guys. Never played tennis a day in my life, guys. But I knew about these great tennis players, man, because they were worthy to be respected that way. They were lifted up. These guys had flair. They had games. All these guys. I remember Formula One race car driving, I believe it was. The guy's name was Mario Andretti, if I remember correctly. I could be off, but I'm pretty sure his name was Mario Andretti. There was a game, I remember playing Sega Genesis, and I had the Mario Andretti race car game. I couldn't pick the guy out of the lineup, but I knew Mario Andretti's name. The name rang bells because the dude was respected and honored that way as a great race car driver. Right? You know what I'm talking about? These are things I'm talking about, guys. Once again, you hear the names. So when Tom Brady is talking about these great players, and I've told you guys many times, when I was young, you heard Babe Ruth's name. You heard Hank Aaron. You heard Willie Mays. You knew about these guys. The great, great players, man. Never saw Babe Ruth play a day in my life, but I heard about him. I even played in a Babe Ruth league. It was called the Babe Ruth League, honoring Babe Ruth. So once again, you knew about the great players that were respected and they were honored for that way. When I'm listening to Tom Brady speak, like I said, this man went off. He named all kinds of people. He named Michael Johnson, not Magic Johnson, not Michael Jordan, Michael Johnson. A lot of you guys probably remember Michael Johnson, another guy who was big. Like I said, I remember Carl Lewis. Carl Lewis was big when I was growing up, man. Carl Lewis was that dude, man, as far as track and field goes. It was Carl Lewis, man. But I knew who Jesse Owens was. Jesse Owens was way before my time, but I knew who Jesse Owens was. Just like I told you guys the other day, I knew who Jim Thorpe was. I've heard of Jim Thorpe. I know who he is because he's honored and respected that way. right? So once again, we knew about Michael Johnson, the guy who wore the gold cleats. Remember Michael Johnson wore them gold cleats? Dude was booking out there. So he brought up Michael Johnson. You haven't heard Michael Johnson's name probably since the 90s, man. But he brought up Michael Johnson. He brought up Michael Phelps, the swimmer, right? I remember, what was the guy's name? Greg Louganis or something like that. Some of these guys that were great swimmers or divers, whatever he was, man. But you knew about some of these guys. You remember some of the gymnastics. Mary Lou Retton. I don't know women's gymnastics, but I knew the name. I still know the name. It rang bells because they were respected. They were honored. LeBron James ain't respected like that. He's not honored like that. He's not worthy. And that's essentially what Tom Brady was, the point he was making. When this dude named everybody under the sun. Like I said, he named Michael Johnson. He named Michael Phelps, right? He named Barry Bonds. Once again, shout out to Barry Bonds. I've told you guys, and I've talked about Barry Bonds on this channel. Barry Bonds, to me, should be in the Hall of Fame easily. Hall of Fame. First ballot should have been in there. The man had 2 separate Hall of Fame careers. I mean, the man was sensational on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The man was sensational on the San Francisco Giants. We know the suspicion surrounding Barry Bonds. My thoughts and feelings on that, as it pertains to baseball, is that, listen, man, there were a lot of these guys doing it in the 90s. That was part of the game in the 90s. The pitchers were doing it, the hitters, a lot of guys were doing it. That doesn't mean that it's okay. But what I'm saying is that the level, the playing field was a lot more level than I think we want to really say and admit. And I think that's what Major League Baseball, like, it was getting wrong. They're trying to act like they're singling out the select few guys that were cheating, quote unquote. Meanwhile, it was really a big portion of your league was doing this stuff, man. So it's whatever. But let's not act like the 90s era of Major League Baseball, like that didn't help Major League Baseball. Think about how popular Major League Baseball was. All the excitement around Major League Baseball when you had Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, like all these guys hitting these home runs, doing all this stuff. It was a fun time for baseball, man, regardless. But Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. But Tom Brady mentioned Barry Bonds, and he talked about how Barry Bonds came to his high school or something like that. I think he said in this video that I was listening to. But Barry Bonds is a great player, guys. A great player. His skills can't be denied. Barry Bonds could do it all. He could hit. He could run the bases. He could field. I mean, the dude was legit. Legit. He wasn't fake. He wasn't smoke screens and mirrors, Barry Bonds, man. They were walking the guy for a reason. The dude was a hitting machine. You couldn't do anything about it. You had to just walk the dude. They were walking Barry Bonds with the bases loaded, man, at certain times because they were scared of that dude. Man, ain't no one scared of LeBron James. They were scared of Barry Bonds, man. They're just not. It wasn't the same. But Tom Brady mentioned Barry Bonds, right? He mentioned Caitlin Clark. He mentioned Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And I guess the rivalry that they have going on and how that's good for the WNBA. And I believe this is. Rivalries are good for sports. So I think that's why Tom Brady mentioned that. But like I said, he just went off and just mentioned a lot of plays. He mentioned Tiger Woods, obviously. And, you could say Tiger Woods, is one of those goats of golf, man. Like I said, what he did for the sport. See, this is what we're talking about. When Tom Brady is throwing out these names, a lot of the names that he mentioned, like I said, some of the names I don't believe are qualified for a GOAT status. You know what I'm saying? Like an Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark. They haven't been playing long enough. I don't believe that's why he was bringing them up. But when you mention, the Michael Johnsons, you mention these guys, you mention someone like a Barry Bonds, you mention some of these players, man. These guys, they pushed the game forward. They changed the game. You know what I'm saying? They helped to push whatever sport it was, right? LeBron James, what has he done for the sport of basketball? He hasn't done anything for the sport of basketball like that. Like I said, he has taken it downhill. He hasn't lifted it up or pushed it forward. Michael Jordan, a lot of the guys that we consider to be greats of all times or Mount Rushmore people, they pushed their respective sport forward, right? They pushed it forward, the sport, right? So like I said, when Tom Brady mentioned something like Tiger Woods, and you mentioned Tiger Woods, and we all know that Tiger Woods had to deal with some demons, right? But what Tiger Woods did for the sport of golf, he pushed it forward, right? He broke down barriers. He opened up doors for people that looked a certain way. So once again, much respect to Tiger Woods for going out there and doing what he did. And once again, when we think about Tiger Woods, it's not only that he was great, right? We get it. He was great, a great golfer, right? I mean, from a young age, he was like a prodigy, Tiger Woods. But it was also the way that Tiger Woods carried himself on the golf course, right? So when he played the game, he played it the right way, right? He had a flair, a swag to him, right? Like I said, which brought people that were not golf fans to golf. This is what Michael Jordan did for basketball. He brought people to basketball that were not basketball fans. Now, all of a sudden, they're into basketball because of Michael Jordan. This is what Tiger Woods did for the sport of golf, right? Like I said, he opened up them doors. This is what the great players do, man. They push the game forward, right? Joe Montana's, he inspired the Tom Brady's. You know, when you think about football, and I don't think that Tom Brady mentioned like his sport in particular. I think he might have done that on purpose to not, single out guys in an NFL. But, you think about the Lawrence Taylors, as like, these great players of NFL's history. Like I said, the Jim Browns to me, the Walter Paytons, the Jerry Rices, the Joe Montanas, the Tom Bradys, some of these great players, that played, certain positions, and you respect these guys. Ray Lewis, some of the linebackers, Mike Singletary. I remember watching Mike Singletary. The dude was just an animal. I just remember some of these guys. Zach Thomas. I remember Zach Thomas. The dude was like a tackling machine out there. But you remember some of these guys, Brian Urlacher, some of these other linebackers, some of the safeties. I remember growing up, the Ronnie Lotts, some of these guys that would come out there, Steve Atwater. These guys just lay the pads on you. I'm talking about these guys would hurt you, man. Like straight lay you out, man. But you remember the Deion Sanders of the world. Like I said, man, these just great, some of these guys, like I said, they're once-in-a-lifetime generational talents. And like I said, Tom Brady bringing up all these people. Like I said, he mentioned so many different sports and never mentioned LeBron James. And the first name he mentioned was obviously Michael Jordan. The second name that I heard him mention was Kobe Bryant. So listen, we know how Tom Brady feels about Michael Jordan because let's be real. Tom Brady was chasing Michael Jordan. Everyone's chasing Michael Jordan. You think Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowl rings by accident? No. He was chasing Michael Jordan 6, trying to surpass Michael Jordan 6. That was his goal. He ain't no one worried about LeBron James and his 4 championships. Because once again, if LeBron James having 4 championships, that's great accomplishment. A great accomplishment. But like I told you, when you look into the championships, it gets exposed. But once again, LeBron's got 4 championships. That's great, but he also got 6 losses, man. He lost 6 times in the championship round. So how can Tom Brady look at you when Tom Brady's above you, essentially? He's above you. Like, to me, Tom Brady will never be above Michael Jordan as far as, how we regard these great players from each, particular sport. To me, it's Michael Jordan as the greatest athlete of all time. And I'm not saying he's the most athletic athlete. Like, he's a greater athlete than Wilt Chamberlain or Bo Jackson or, Deion Sanders or some of these great athletes, Jim Thorpe, some of these guys that played, sports in the history of the world. I'm not saying that. What I'm talking about is he's the greatest athlete. An athlete, someone who played sports. To me, Michael Jordan, the greatness that he achieved in his sport, to me, eclipses any other athlete in their respective sport. That's just the way that I view it. I think that's the way that most people view it, which is why you're regarded as the Michael Jordan of. You're not regarded as, the Walter Payton of, or the Jim Brown of, the Tom Brady of, the Joe Montana of, the Wayne Gretzky of, the Jerry Rice of, right? You're not regarded, and that's not a knock on those guys. Those guys are absolutely all-time great legends. These are the top of the top guys that I'm mentioning here. But when you talk about someone being compared to greatness, it's Michael Jordan's name that comes up. Like I said, that's just the way our society, has gone, right? It's become a societal norm for you to say, yo, this guy's like Michael Jordan, man. You're the Michael Jordan of this. I told you, man, they called that woman the Michael Jordan of women's underwear. That's what she was called on a news clip that I was listening to one time. Insane, man. That's what Tom Brady's talking about. And Tom Brady does not respect LeBron James. That's why Tom Brady did not mention LeBron James. You think that was an accident? He just forgot to mention LeBron James? No, man. And I know a lot of the LeBron James fans, you guys are going to get upset. You're going to start crying and moaning. You're going to start talking trash about Tom Brady. Oh, Tom Brady's a cheater. Oh, LeBron James ain't cheat. LeBron James ain't been cheating. You're going to say, try to say Tom Brady cheated. He inflated some footballs, or he deflated footballs, or, they were spying and, videotaping this. And you can say whatever they want. We have more stuff against LeBron James than you could ever come up with against Tom Brady. And once again, man, Tom Brady, I respect Tom Brady as a true professional, as a true competitor. Like, I was never a Tom Brady fan, but I respect him. I respect the hell out of him. Listen, man, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that Tom Brady is not the greatest quarterback of all time, and I'm not going to sit here and say that he is. I told you, I was never a quote-unquote fan of Tom Brady. I'm a Giants fan. So, to me, Tom Brady came across as very arrogant sometimes, and I get it. To be a quarterback, you have to have a certain level of confidence inside of you, a certain level of belief in you. But there's a thin line between being like someone like LeBron James, a narcissist, and with the supreme arrogance, right? The hubris, or someone like Tom Brady and the arrogance that Tom Brady displayed from time to time. And, you know, the arrogance of Tom Brady grew with his legend, let's say, right? So I remember a particular time before the Giants were playing the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl back in 2007, that was, if I remember correctly. Remember, the Patriots were undefeated that season. Randy Moss was on that team, right? The Patriots were amazing. Undefeated, regular season, 16-0, right? And what happened, though? They were coming into the Super Bowl against the New York Giants, who were not a formidable team like that in the regular season, not like the New England Patriots. And they always have the pregame stuff, or not the pregame, what is that, like a media day, right? Like a couple of days before the Super Bowl, whatever it is, the days leading up to the Super Bowl, they have like a media day. And they interview all the players, and they have, whatever. I remember they were talking to Plexico Burress, who was the wide receiver of the New York Giants team, the dumb idiot Plexico Burress who shot himself in the leg. Freaking idiot, man. But anyway, guy ruined the New York Giants' chances that next year, man. He really did. To me, the Giants were better the next year. And Plexico Burress shot himself in the leg in the club. Like, you guys remember that dumb dude carrying a gun with sweatpants. Like, but anyway, I digress. Plexico Burress was being interviewed. And this dude has skills. Plexico Burress, I respect his game and stuff, man. He's just a goof, but I respect his game. Anyway, he starts talking. I don't know if you guys remember, he predicted the Giants were going to win. And if I remember, he said they were going to win. I want to say he said like 14-10 or 17-10. I can't remember. Excuse me. What the actual score that he predicted was. I want to say maybe 10. Maybe it was 14-7 or 17-7. I can't remember what it was. But Plexico predicted the Giants were going to win and they scored. He threw a score out there. I remember they asked Tom Brady about that at his media day. And Tom Brady laughed with a certain level of, almost like Michael Jordan laughed at Gary Payton when he said he was like, I had no problem with Gary. And he was like, laughing at Gary. That's kind of like what Tom Brady did. He kind of laughed at Plexico Burress and he said, we're only going to score 10 points. Like, that's what he said. It was almost like the nerve of this guy to say that we're only going to score 10 points. But if you guys remember, the Giants had a very formidable defensive line, right? They can get pressure on the quarterback. And you guys remember what happened in the Super Bowl? They literally held the Patriots, I think, to 10 points in that Super Bowl. So Plexico Burress was on the money with that. On the money. And why did they hold the Patriots that low? Because Tom Brady was running for his life in that Super Bowl, right? Guys like Michael Strahan were all over him. What's the other dude? O.C. Uman, if I remember. Justin Tuck. They just had a formidable defensive front. And Tom Brady was running for his life most of that Super Bowl. And we all know Eli Manning with one of those greatest plays in Super Bowl history. But he was on the money. But Tom Brady laughed at that notion, man. And I remember thinking, like, this dude Tom Brady's an arrogant dude, man. He really is that arrogant, man. But anyway, I respect Tom Brady's game and his competitiveness. Like, when Tom Brady on the field, you get nervous, man, when he got the ball last. You ain't nervous from LeBron James. You ain't worried about LeBron James. I told you, the feeling that you got from someone like LeBron James when he's getting ready to take the last second shot or his team got the ball at the end of the game, you ain't worried about that, man. But when Tom Brady got the ball in offense and there's only like a minute to go and your team's only up by a couple of points, man, you feel nervous. You don't feel confident because Tom Brady earned that reputation, right? And you know what he's been known to do more often than not. He was that dude at the end of these games, man. So in that regard, Tom Brady's on another level from someone like a LeBron James. I would never put LeBron James in the same category as someone like Tom Brady, who's known and has won more than he's lost. Like I said, and won more than LeBron James and was able to win in different ways. Right? When Tom Brady first started winning, it was the defense lifting them up. They had a great defense with guys like Richard Seymour and Willie McGinnis and Teddy Bruschi and what's the guy's name? Lawyer Malloy, Ty Law. What's the other dude's name? Rodney Harrison. I mean, they had a great defense, man. That was part of the problem for Peyton Manning. He couldn't get past the defense of these guys. I mean, it was insane. And every year they had home field advantage, the New England Patriots. You're playing in the wintertime. You have a kicker like Adam Vinatieri. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had the tuck rule. So Tom Brady had a lot of things going for him, like LeBron James. But Tom Brady didn't lose. He didn't lose. He won more often than he lost. So much respect to Tom Brady for throwing the names that he threw out and not mentioning LeBron James once. For mentioning Michael Jordan, how he idolized Michael Jordan, and how Michael Jordan was the standard of the bar that he was aiming for. If he was aiming for LeBron James, he would have never reached those heights. But the reason why he was able to get to where he got is because you're chasing Michael Jordan. Same thing with Kobe Bryant. You think it's a coincidence that these guys achieve what they did when your bar is Michael Jordan? It's not a coincidence, guys. These are the facts. Shout out to Tom Brady for not throwing LeBron James out there just because. He kept it real. LeBron James not a Mount Rushmore player. He's not a GOAT of GOATs. That's the facts. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.